This is the iRacers Lounge, featuring the latest iRacing news, driver interviews, race reviews, opinions, discussions, rumors, and more. Now here's Alan Pajari and Mike Ellis.
Welcome to iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Alan Pajari. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. With me are the usuals Mike Ellis and Carlos Fonseca, and semi-usual Brad Miller. And also with me is several of my One Up Motorsports teammates. We have Colton Landis, Jason Miller, Sam Roush, and Travis Sollenberger. So, welcome, guys.
Hey. Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me, Alan.
Yep, it's good to have you guys on the show. So let's get right into it. There's a bug in the spotter saving and within your settings that created quite a whirlwind, I would say, over the last couple of weeks. And let's first talk about the bug that's happening and some of our experiences with testing this bug. First of all, is that it doesn't seem to be saving your settings. If you save for a password, whether it's set for anyone can join but you have a password, or if it's set for friends only and you have a password, it seems to take off the password and allow people in. And first of all, have you guys seen this? Have you experienced it besides my teammates? So Brad, Mike, Carlos?
Well, I'll jump in. I've read a little bit about it on the forums and some of the responses from the iRacing staff, and they're indicating, or what I read anyway, was it would save your settings, but then when you would go back and maybe refresh the page or go back to that settings area, it didn't appear that your settings would be saved. The UI is not set in a way where you can verify, so to speak, and it appears that it didn't save. And so I'm still confused about exactly what the issue was. Is it that they can get in when you don't have it set to be passworded?
Well, here's kind of what we saw, and Jason, you can confirm with me, is that you can have it set for a password, save it, but then when you go to view spectate, it still allows you to join in as a spotter, as it's open for anyone.
So I can go in and spot for anybody else regardless of their settings.
Yeah, but it was random though. It was hit and miss. For example, it was the first race of the week for Indianapolis, and we had Derek Bardo, our teammate, in a race, and so it was the 7:30 Eastern time race, and Junior was in there spotting for him, and that's when we first noticed that there was no password. Is that correct, Jason?
Yeah, that's how it started.
Yep. And then
so Derek had his set to a password, right? And then it didn't prompt you. Is that what you're saying?
Right. He had it set. He thought he had it set. He went into the settings, saved it, put a password on it, locked it for everybody except his friends. But then when he went into the race, if somebody else went to view spectate, it would show it as open. And we had like 6 people jump in there and spot for him, which gives them access to the setup and everything like that. 6 people that shouldn't have been in there. So it didn't work. So we were really confused and everybody scrambled. And it was a week-long process, but I think they did announce a way around it now.
Yeah, I think in the next race that I was in, we had the same problem, but nobody recognized me as a good enough driver to jump in there and try and steal a set.
Right, because at first we were like, we thought maybe Derek did something wrong because you just wouldn't think, thought maybe he left it off. But then the same thing happened, like Colton said, to him in the very next race. And then it turned out they said don't go in there and check those settings because whatever they did with the new build, it messed it up to where when you went in there and checked it, it would uncheck your spotter password automatically after you left, even though you didn't know it. So I think now what they're saying is go in there and set it and then shut down iRacing and come back and leave it alone. Don't go back and check it or anything like that, and everything's supposed to be good now, which we've tested a few times and it's worked. But
Yeah, that's what I read as well. Just what you said is set it and go away and don't look at it ever again.
right. But he said, whoever it was that posted on the forum said they're working on it. I think he's even got a fix for it. It just hasn't been deployed yet. But as for now, that's the thing to do is just once you set your password, leave it alone. Don't go back and look at it or it could uncheck it.
Right. Staff member Jason Breifogel mentioned that there was a couple of misspellings in the JavaScript on that page that allowed this to happen, which he has put in a couple fixes for, but it hasn't been deployed. But I know for me personally, I'm going to leave mine off until it's actually fixed.
It did start some chaos, though. It started a whole discussion about the ethics of iRacing and all that. Some of the people that joined on Derek, it wasn't like new people just coming in to see what was going on. These were people on established teams, and it opened up a whole can of worms about ethics and stuff.
Well, what are the ethics there? Obviously, it's probably frowned upon, but is it, against the sporting code? I guess I'll ask the question.
I don't think technically it is. I haven't seen anything where it's technically like protestable, but it's just a matter of like for us, we had a really good setup, and like I said, some of the people that jumped in there knew better, and they're on other, highly competitive big teams, and they knew exactly what they were doing. They were just coming in there to get an easy setup. Some of them, you can't prove they took it, but you have access to it and you can save it. So,
Oh, you can save it, huh? I was thinking you just screenshot it of the settings.
You can actually save it. If you come in as a spotter, you can save that setup of the driver that you join on. So there's you can't prove that they took it, but why else would, some of those people come in there? I don't know.
And then when they show up the next race and they're 0.3 faster than they were before, you kind of know.
Interesting.
Yeah, and actually one of the guys that jumped in there, I've heard that he's done this before, and he was kind of known for this, so it kind of made me feeling that they knew what they were doing. So that's just kind of my feeling on it. But let's ask the question: should spotters even be allowed to view the setup?
Well, in my opinion, I say yes, because usually you don't have a mixed team. You don't have a crew chief and a spotter and etc. It's one guy helping you out, and he sometimes is the crew chief, and he needs to look at the set, but he's also being your spotter.
I personally think that there's really no reason to get to the actual setup page as a spotter, because once the race starts, you can't, if there's a driver in the car, you can't adjust over there. You do need to be able to let the spotters get to your black boxes, your tire pressures,
Yeah, that's a good point.
Your offset, but there's really no reason to get inside the setup page, in my opinion.
Right, he shouldn't have any more access than the driver does, right?
Right.
Yeah, just let him see anything that the driver could change on a pit stop.
Right.
So that's
anybody else got any opinions on that?
There, huh?
Anyone else with opinions on that?
Well, my opinion on it is pretty similar to that, where the way iRacing has it, you can't choose between being a spotter and a crew chief. So they have to have it open, I guess, where you can see the whole setup. Should it be available? No, it shouldn't be available. You should only be able in a race to make adjustments that you would be able to make on a normal pit stop. There's no reason to actually have the whole setup available to the crew chief.
Yeah,
Okay,
see,
let
the
me
only
ask you
time to have
this.
that would be maybe for team events only, like endurance races.
What if what if you enter the room as the crew chief? Should that person also not have access to the set?
I personally don't think so. I don't think there's any reason after a race starts that that the set should be available to anyone, because even the crew chief can't make changes to the set.
Right. But is there a reason that he should look at it like he needs to know the base temperatures or whatever, or the base pressure?
The pressures are on the.
That's true. That's in one of the black boxes, huh? What else? Is there any other settings that a crew chief might want to look at in that set page that he can't get from the black boxes?
Why? You
Usually-
can't adjust it anyway.
Right, that's the thing. Usually, I mean, if you're a crew chief for somebody, and say I'm crew chief for Tyler Hudson. Usually, we've been in a practice, so I already know everything on that setup. So once the race starts, there's really no benefit to seeing it because I can't do anything about it anyway. Once the race starts.
I mean, that's a good point. If you're the crew chief, you built the setup.
Yeah.
And and Travis is the spotter for Tyler. And Travis, when you're spotting, do you have any need to access the setup at all?
I mean, very rarely. I've been asked, Tyler would make adjustments before the race, and he would ask me maybe what he put the track bar on at the start of the race or something like that. But same point in time, with you not being able to change it, all it is kind of peace of mind at that point. Him knowing what he put the track bar at. And, with Jason and these guys being around that mess with the setups more and being in there during the race, it doesn't seem to be as big of an issue because, like Jason said, he would already knew without having to look at it what the track bar was on before he started.
All right. So I think kind of consensus is a little bit that they don't need access to it,
Doesn't sound like it.
and so they probably really should just close it off. Now, the other question is for like team events. You can pull the car into the garage and make setup changes though, but it would just take you a long time, and I don't know if anybody's actually done this, but I do recall that being one of the benefits of the team races, that you're able to pull it into the garage and make setup changes. But I know for like non-team events you can't. So if they can make a difference there, then I don't understand why they can't make a difference on the other side too. But actually, on team events, you're joining in as where you can spot or drive or crew chief or whatever. On the all or the non-team events, basically the only thing you can do is join in to spectate, spot, or crew chief. There is no opportunity to drive. So I think if they can make the difference between that, they should be able to make the difference on whether or not you have access to that setup.
And for those drivers out there that know their spotter thing is passworded from long ago, the thing is, don't go in and check it, right?
Exactly. Right. Just leave it as it is. If you haven't messed with, that's where we got in trouble. Is we just started messing around with it, and then when Derek's ended up being open, naturally, then we all wanted to check ours. So then we all made ourselves vulnerable. But yeah, you're right. If you hadn't had any trouble in this lock, just don't even go in there. Just keep it on. Don't turn the spotter function off and back on, because that's when it glitches.
Right.
And the best way to test it seems to be to just get in a practice and get one of your buddies to put his thing over the thing there where you can go in and look and see if you can. Well, you can spectate or spot in a practice, can you?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so you can just look there and see if it's open or not. If it's open, then you need to fix it. But if it's not, just let it alone.
Yeah, probably a good idea for everyone to check that.
Yeah, that's what Jason and I were doing that night. We were sitting there making changes and jumping into practices and that type of stuff, just seeing if we can it left it open or not. So
To
we
some
just
people, it seems trivial, but we do spend a lot of time working on those, and we're trying to compete with other big teams out there. So that
Well, is there any
it's
thought
not
about
trivial
sending
to
a
us.
note over to Nim Cross about it? Is this protestable?
the stealing part.
Yeah,
Is the
let's
question?
talk about the ethics a little bit. I think we all agree about it, but should these people, get punished somehow?
Well, that kind of leads into the next discussion. Is that Tyler got in there and actually put in the forms. He named the names of the people that jumped in there. And, even though he didn't have absolute proof, everybody kind of knows. I think there was one guy that admitted to it and apologized, but I guess that, is naming the names on the forum. Do you think that's okay to do? And then second of all, was it okay to do in this situation, since it's really non-protestable type of deal, since it isn't like in the sporting code? And
Well, yeah.
And third of all, is the punishment of being shamed in public good enough?
Well, I'll jump in here and say, and be real clear, you cannot name names in the forum on protestable offenses, because that is in itself a protestable offense. It's actually in the sporting code that says you can't do that. Now, this particular topic, I think, is a gray area because, as we already discussed, we don't think that this particular issue is in the sporting code. So I think Tyler was okay naming names, and probably rightfully did so, because it is the gray area. So what are you supposed to do? Like I said, are you going to email Nim Cross, or are you going to throw something out in the forums and let the hounds take to it, or what?
Opinions, guys?
Well, like Mike said, it's a gray area. It's not actually in the sporting code. I think Tyler was totally justified with it. You spend, 6, 8, 10 hours on building a setup all weekend, and then 5, 6 people come in and steal the setup and are automatically faster. You should be shamed for it. It's not right. It's bad sportsmanship. It's a lot of bad things. And if you're willing to go in there and take someone else's setup, someone else's hard work, put in a lot of time and dedication into it, you can't get upset if you're being shamed for it or your name's being thrown out there. You better just take it.
I don't think anybody would blame Tyler for that. I don't think anybody would think that he was in the wrong there.
The other side of this is, and I'm just guessing from what I hear, but the guys that did it obviously didn't care whether they get shamed for it or not. If you're going to do it, you might as well face up and man up about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. There was one of them did send an apology to the whole team. It was a heartfelt apology. We told him we'll just move on, forgive him, we'll just move on. But there was another guy or two that sent private messages that were pretty mad that they were named. But they were adamant they didn't take the setup. But my stand on them is that they shouldn't have been in there, whether they took it or not. The guys that were in there knew they shouldn't have been in there, had no reason to be in there. And like you said, once you do that, then you're pretty much guilty for just doing it. Whether you took it or not, you might as well have at that point, because you were in there.
Well, hold on a second. Now, when the spotter feature first came out and I tried it, the only way I could figure out, and this was kind of before I was on a team, the way I would try it was basically go find some random person that has their spotter thing open, join as their spotter, and just kind of surprise them over the radio and say, hey, Mike Ellis up in the tower, I'm going to be your spotter. Is that okay with you? And I actually met some friends that way, just kind of coming in and randomly spotting for them. So I don't want to say that, hey, if I was trying to do that, or I'm new to iRacing and I'm trying to learn how the spotting works, and I go, click on spot for somebody, I don't think I should be guilty of automatically saying, okay, this guy's trying to steal a setup.
But these weren't random people.
Well,
They
that's a
weren't-
good point. If they're people that have been around and they're your normal competition, yeah, I understand.
And on the other side of that, I've done this stuff for 4 years, and I didn't know anything about this until y'all started talking about it. I've had people come in, and people I didn't even know, and start talking to me on the spotter thing before I joined a team. Well, I hope they didn't get my setup, because they probably went 3/10 slower, but I didn't even know. I had no clue that you could do this.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people don't, but the people that jumped in and watched Derek while he was dominating the top split of the Open, and the names that jumped in there, they do know. So I mean, they're common, well-known names, and I'm confident of that. They didn't just decide, let me check the spotter function on this car on this race. I'm confident about that.
Right, and I know, like, I watched the first half hour of that race before our league race that night, and I went in as a spectator. I didn't even bother looking at the spotter things, which, if you're going to go in there and watch the race, that's what people do. They go in as spectators. So to go in there and just spot for someone that that's already on a team, probably already has a spotter, and that they're just not just looking to see on how spotting works. What they were doing. And so I would say that it's, when you look at the situation, it was almost like guilt for just doing it, So I don't know. I personally would never have thought of jumping as a spotter and stealing setups. That's just something I've never thought of doing. I'd even think that it could be done, because I've never even tried, and I'm just kind of shocked about it. So for the naming the names thing, I'm actually glad Tyler did it. I think that the public shame is probably what could have been done here, since it's probably not protestable. But if something probably is, for something as competitive as the A Open is in the top splits, I think the stealing setups, I think, is probably pretty darn, bad to do, and probably should be protestable. Now, if Derek were to share this setup, then that would be a totally different story. But for just jump into someone's spotter and steal the setup, it's kind of like what John Hammer wrote in the thing too. If I leave my garage door open and you come walking in and grab something that isn't yours, that's still stealing. It wasn't like I invited you in. I didn't have a big open sign, come on in and grab what you want. It was, you can't do that. And so that's the way I view this thing at. So,
But another aspect, or one other thing we didn't mention about this was this didn't actually start with us. After all this happened, then other stuff started trickling in. This actually, the first that I heard of it was the pro season's going on, and the week before Indy, this happened to several pro teams in the pro race where that happened to them during the pro race. People were coming in there taking their setups too. So I think that's just another aspect. It was bigger than just our team.
yeah, good point. And it has been happening around too. Is when you start reading the forums and stuff, you can tell that how other people are affected. So it is pretty big. All right. So anyway, I think we beat that thing to death. Hopefully those people are shamed and feel bad and don't ever do that again. But for some reason, at least one of the names I know on there will probably keep on doing it. So anyway, most of us has been running A Opens, I would say, at least on the one-up team. And so let's go to our guy that's been doing the best so far after 3 weeks, which is Colton. Colton's been on a roll. So Colton, talk about your 3 weeks into the A Open so far.
Well, First off, I got to give credit to Jason here and all the guys on the team who work on the setups, because without the great setups I've had the past 3 weeks, I wouldn't be having any success. But yeah, I guess I've gained about a little over 800 I rating in the past 3 weeks, just running consistent. Having fun. Got a few wins too, so.
Nice.
He's
Yeah.
keeping me from winning every race he's in that I'm in. Yeah, but Colton's been running really good. Everybody on the team has. But Colton,
Honestly,
particularly.
though, one thing that I think, obviously, the setups are the big part of my success. But another thing that's really been helping me out is I just got a new computer from iBuyPower and triple monitors. It's a lot easier to race people. I've found. I do think they are helping me out a lot.
Yeah, I saw the picture you posted of it. Congratulations on the setup. It looks really nice.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. It was a real pain in the butt. I could tell a long story about how all that I had to go through to get it to me, but I won't tell that story. I'm enjoying it now.
I'll take up the rest of the show if you do.
Yeah.
Yep. And Sam, you've had some success and some letdowns at Michigan, Indianapolis. And why don't you talk a little bit about your successes?
Well, the success, the same thing, just these great setups that Jason and everybody on the team putting in a lot of hard work has really, really helped it. I'm still learning a lot about keeping the car under control, when to race smart and everything like that. I've had some bad lack of judgment, and I've also had many mistakes that I made, but I've learned from it. And when I do put everything together, I mean, I've had some good success. Got a few wins, my first few cup wins that I've ever had there. It's been a lot of fun this season. I've run A Open before, and not being able to figure out and not putting in as much work, and it has been really frustrating, but it's been really fun, and everybody's made it a lot of fun as well.
Yeah. Travis, have you run any A Opens? I know you've done some Bs, but have you run any A Opens?
I ran 2 races at Indy.
Ah, yes, that's correct. And how'd you do?
Put myself in a bad spot in the first race and ended up catching one of the curbs there. Wrecked myself in the first race, and second race there wasn't quite as many cars in there, but I won that one. Setup was hauling it.
Very good. Junior, how's you been your first 3 weeks?
Oh, good. I don't have any wins. Like I said, I'm usually in there with teammates, and they always beat me. But I've had good finishes, and we've hit on some stuff with the setup stuff. That the cars have been fast, and I've got quite a few top fives. It's been pretty fun.
Yeah, and just let you guys know how I've been doing is I had some decent races at Michigan. We're in with some top guys, and I felt pretty comfortable running around with some of the top guys, and some decent races at Indianapolis, but Darlington has not been kind to me. So I think I'm done with Darlington for the week, but it's been so far pretty fun. And next week is Kentucky during the daytime for all you people out there at racing, and it is bumpy. It is really bumpy. So let's talk about some of the other things that people are running. Brad, what have you been running so far this season?
To be honest with you, with Christmas and New Year's and grandkids, I've got in a Darlington fixed race, a Cup, I think open and fixed, but I really haven't been racing much. But now that that's over with, ready to get going.
All right, and Carlos, I noticed that you have dipped your toes back into the Star Mazda, and what else have you been running?
Well, really, besides the league races we've been doing, just mainly GT3, and that's it. Me and Jose have been running the endurance, and hell, just speaking of that right now, we just got wrecked.
Oh, you're running. Yeah, I guess it's on right now, isn't it?
Yeah, Jose's in the car right now, and he says someone just got him in turn 1. I think took him out.
Where are those at this week?
They're Interlagos, I think.
Oh, Interlagos.
I mean, we've
Yep.
been doing pretty well in that series now. The new season that started with the endurance, we've been started off with a 3rd place, I think, which should have been 2nd because there's an issue with some single drivers again where they're able to keep their position. But we started off with a 3rd, and I think we got a 5th last week, so we're on fire in that series.
Yeah, it is kind of disappointing about that being a team event, but they still allow single drivers and be able to not be disqualified, which is a disappointment for that. I mean, if you are a single driver and you don't have a teammate, it is good endurance practicing, especially if you're going to run the 24 or whatever, to do 3 hours straight of racing to get your body used to it. But you should still be disqualified and not have points. I definitely agree with that. And so, Mike, what you been running?
It's the off season, man. I'm a NASCAR driver. I'm like a NASCAR driver. I'm not racing. I didn't even turn the computer on yesterday at all. I run a little bit, but not much. And what I've been running is Dallara Dash and Pickup Cup. No iRating, no SR. Just some carefree, quick races. I had a lot of fun at using the old Dallara at Phoenix, and came away with like a bunch of top 5s. I don't think I won any, but I was always finishing in the top 5, and I was having a lot of fun with it. But just some, relaxing racing and getting ready for the big season, coming up, and the 36-week grind.
It is a grind. Let's see, Colton, I know you've been running A Opens. Have you been doing anything else besides that?
Well, I tried running a IMSA whatever sports car championship race. Would be my first official road race other than the endurance races for like a year and a half, and I didn't practice much. I didn't know it was an hour and a half long. And I drove.
Was that Daytona?
Yeah, Daytona. I drove pretty much like an idiot and I got disqualified. So I think I'm gonna wait another year and a half.
So did you have the same issues with the cold tires on lap 1?
Yeah. But interesting is I was in a Daytona night practice with Jordan Taylor, the real life driver. He said it's actually pretty realistic and it might even be worse in real life on the cold tires at night. So.
Oh, wow.
I've seen people in real life plow that pit wall down coming out of there.
Yep.
Interesting. Jason, besides the Open, what are you trying to get participation credits for?
I have run a couple of Skip Barber races. Like you said, just for participation, so it'll give me some money. It's always good. But pretty much run around in the back, just keep it on the track. I enjoy the road racing. I'm just not fast at it.
And Sam?
A Open, and I was doing late models. I haven't really had much success in it this season compared to previous seasons, but I'm trying to decide if I want to do late models or SKs or something short track-ish. I like short track racing. I find it to be a lot of fun. But right now, A Open for sure, and my short track series is kind of up in the air.
All right. And Travis, what have you been running?
I don't race so much anymore. Haven't gotten participation credits since probably 2011. But I drive at the weird tracks. I don't know. I like the technical tracks like Indy, and being that I'm from Pennsylvania, I kind of like Pocono no matter what. So I've been doing some B Opens this week because it's Pocono.
Yeah, Travis. Yeah, Travis. He doesn't run that much. He likes to go and practices a lot and have fun and wreck his teammates. But he,
Yeah.
you don't really see him that much in the official stuff. But
Yeah,
so
I bet
it's actually
if
good
you've
to see him.
if you've run any B races this week, you've seen him because he's been dominating at Pocono.
Yeah, I got kind of lucky, I guess. I don't know. I'm not really much of a setup guy, but I took the fixed setup and made it drive the way I want to drive, and I've been out there pretty much putting it on them.
Just whooping up on those B class drivers.
Yeah, and I think Pocono is one of them tracks that isn't so setup dependent. If you can get something that feels comfortable to you, the track's technical enough that if you've ran a lot of laps there like I have and like the track and want to go out there and do good at it, you just kind of put your game face on and go out there and turn laps no matter what you're driving.
Right.
Yep. And as for me, since on the last show I mentioned, I got 2 accounts now. And so on my normal account, I've been running the A Open and the Star Mazdas, and I've been enjoying that. The Star Mazda is, I don't put too much time in the setup, and I don't put too much time in practicing. And so I'm really not planning to run up front or anything like that. But my last race at Interlagos was kind of fun, finished mid-pack. But the Nürburgring, the GP one, I don't know, for everyone that hasn't had a chance to run the GP version of Nürburgring, there's some frame skips and just weird things that happen in graphics. You'd be like, it's very odd there. And I don't know exactly what it is. I know that iRacing has mentioned that they're working on fixing some of the frame rate issues that they got there, but it is pretty messy. And then on my second account, I've been having a lot of fun with street stocks, SK modifieds, late models. Haven't done very well in the late model. SK modifieds I've been doing pretty decent thanks to setups from a website, which I'll pull up here in a little bit here, and I'll mention it. But also, I am now done with running street stocks on my second account because I moved up to C class, which I find very disappointing. That happened to me. But the website is called osracing.net.
You just need to hit the wall a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then you'll be a D.
You're driving too clean. That's your problem.
Now,
Well-
what you need to do, Alan, is whenever you have a bad race and you get mad on your regular account, just get on your other account and go wreck some rookies.
And then I should have done that yesterday. I tell you that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I moved up to C class but my last race in the street stocks was a great fun race, and you can see it up on my YouTube channel. And it really kind of proved that you guys remember the rookies. I don't know if you remember some of you guys were before the street stocks, so maybe you ran legends. But for the guys that ran street stocks, is that when you first got into a race at Charlotte and it was nighttime, you noticed that everyone was running low. Everyone was running the low line to make sure that they don't get blocked and they don't get passed. They were just protecting the low side. Well, I didn't particularly worry about that this race, and I just tried to save my tires as much as possible. And then in the last few laps, I was able to pass about 7 cars just by running the outside and end up making a very last lap pass right at the line to take the win. And so that was actually a lot of fun. Probably the most fun I've ever had in the rookie street stocks. But the SK Modifieds, I've never been able to run them before. It really wasn't a popular series when I first was a D class and kind of going through the ranks. And I know I can run it now in my regular account, but I don't want to because I was afraid I was going to lose a bunch of iRating because I'm not very good. But so this time around, I'm actually able to run them. And guys, the SK Modifieds are a lot of fun. They're a fun car to drive. So we're at 5 Flags this week, and it's kind of fun. You don't have to brake going into corners, and you just just let the baby roll, and it's a good time. So, speaking of my second account, and we'll move into the next topic, is that my wife was generous and gave me $200 of my own money into iRacing credits. And so I applied that to my second account so I could buy some stuff, and I'm now enjoying having that second account. So that's what I got for Christmas. So let's kind of go up the line here. Travis, did you get anything or reward yourself for Christmas with any kind of iRacing related stuff?
No, I've been 100% member for quite a while, and I'm lucky enough that when my work does Christmas bonuses, they found where if they buy you $25 gift cards, they don't have to take taxes out of it as long as it's in $25 increments. And iRacing just happens to sell $25 gift cards. So previous years, I've gotten enough gift cards where I've gotten all the content and got my subscription going for a while.
Oh, that's kind of neat. So work actually buys you iRacing gift cards?
Yeah, didn't get any this year because I still actually have some money in the account there, but I've done it in previous years. I think the one year I got like $600 in iRacing credits, and that was when I went ahead and finished buying whatever content I didn't have to become 100%. And, I kind of looked at it as even if I don't use all that stuff, it's nice to be, we got a pretty big team, and it's nice whenever somebody's like, oh, I'm in here doing this, and I can be like, yeah, I'll jump in there even if I have no intent of racing it because I like to run practice laps and stuff. So, by the time you add in a 30% discount that you get for being a 100% member, some of that stuff's virtually free compared to buying it one piece at a time or even 2 or 3 pieces at a time.
Yeah, I know for my second account, I'm buying them 6 pieces at a time just to get that 20% discount that they got going there. All right, Sam, did you receive anything or reward yourself for anything for Christmas?
Well, I didn't get anything for Christmas as far as iRacing or anything like that, and I definitely didn't reward myself. I wasn't exactly employed for a month, but I luckily am a 100% member club already, so as far as that, nah, not on iRacing, just been practicing and stuff.
Wow. Now, Junior, I know you got something. Tell us about what you got.
I upgraded my pedals to I was running the stock G27 pedals, and I upgraded to the Fanatic V3s during Christmas. And I'm
Nice.
thoroughly enjoying them so far.
And
I just
now
watched
it's
a
half
review
second
on
faster.
that on Inside Sim Racing. They reviewed those pedals, and they look really nice.
Yeah, like I said, I'm enjoying, and going from the potentiometers to the load cell. It's a big difference and a little adjustment period. There's a lot of things you can dial into them, the sensitivity and stuff, but I'm still trying to get them where I like them exactly. But so far, I mean, they're just so much smoother and feel so much more realistic going from the G27s to these V3s that I'm liking them so far.
And so one thing I noticed that in the Inside Sim Racing thing is they were talking about how the brake pedals feel like they're hydraulic. Are you finding that or at all? Or did you happen to get any of the extras that they sell with those pedals, the add-ons?
No, I just got the pedals, and I didn't get any of the add-ons. But actually, I've got I don't know if they feel hydraulic, but I don't know. Comparing them to the G27s, I feel like with the G27s, it was kind of a memory thing. You just how far to press it before they lock up. But with these, I can actually feel it. They've got a vibration motor in the brake and the throttle, which I've heard some people say don't work on iRacing, but it's been working for me. So right before you hit threshold braking, you can feel that motor. I think it should be a little stronger personally, but you can feel it, especially in the brake pedal. It'll vibrate right before you reach your threshold braking, which has been really cool.
Yeah, it sounds really nice. So do you find the advantage? Do you wear like socks instead of shoes with those pedals on? With the
Yeah,
vibration?
I race in my socks. I did on other ones and with these. I don't have them the sensitivity or the pressure turned all the way up, so I don't think I need the add-ons to make them even stiffer. I tried it all the way up, but I'm just more comfortable with it. I don't know, probably 80% as strong as it could be, something like that. But yeah, I'm really liking them though, for sure.
There's
All right.
definitely something to be said about having a good set of pedals. I mean, guys are out there racing on something like Momo or driving force pedals, and I know some people are racing on a budget, but you couldn't believe the difference going to a good set of pedals.
Even I was surprised with the throttle. You know, I expected the brake because that's what everybody focuses on. You can really be more consistent, but the throttle on these V3s, there's resistance, and I can really feel. I can feel when I'm going to start spinning the wheels a little bit better. It's just all the way around. It's just a whole lot better feel, and I'm more consistent, I think.
Good. I know that I was right behind you in the Indianapolis race, I think, one of your first races with the new pedals. And I don't think you were used to the brakes at that point.
Yeah, I almost wrecked you, me, and anybody else around us. I don't know if I didn't have it calibrated right or I had the sensitivity too high or whatever it was, but I went down into is it turn 1 or turn 3, jumped on the brakes, locked them up, almost took Alan out.
Yep, that was fun. So, Colton, what about you? Anything for Christmas?
I got some money. It's going mostly in the bank, I guess. But I did order myself an iRacing sweatshirt, which I guess is coming in soon.
All right. So,
Cool.
so Colton's going to be styling.
Represent.
Well, I thought I'd wear them to like whenever I go to the NASCAR race or whatever. Sometimes I see people there wearing them. It'd just be cool.
Yep, they're also good for dates too, if you want to know.
Pick up a lot of
Yeah.
chicks.
This is my video game sweatshirt.
No. This is your simulator sweatshirt.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Would you reward yourself?
No, my wife did get me an Apple Watch, which I absolutely love, and it's kind of related to iRacing because I usually look at my iPad when I get an alert while I'm racing because it's kind of right under the center screen. But now I think I can just glance at the watch and I don't have to look away as much. So kind of iRacing related.
So, you got to explain this. What program you running? What you doing? You got to explain this a little bit.
No, I'm just saying like when somebody emails or texts or something while I'm in a race, it taps you on the wrist, and you kind of look down at your arm and you say, oh, that's my wife, telling me to, get off the computer.
Now you got an explanation for every time Mike swerves down a straightaway.
Now it's less of a swerve because it's on his wrist.
There you go.
Well, maybe I just strap the watch to like the steering wheel right in the middle or something.
Well, question: do you got like a screen on your watch? Like it would be like an iPhone?
Yeah, it's a screen.
So, would it be possible to actually load an app that you would have on your, like for what people use and stick their phones on their wheel? Would it be possible to load like one of those apps on your phone there or on your watch?
No, that's
To be
not
able
how
to
it
see
works.
any
But
stuff?
if you have an app for iOS, for Apple phones, and you can develop a watch app to go with it, like a companion app. But no, you just can't take any old, iPhone app and do it on the watch. It doesn't work that way. So
Oh, but that would have been cool.
I thought about it. I was thinking, okay, could I get my rev limiters on my watch? Would that be cool?
Yeah.
Maybe it
Need
can
something
tap
to
me
tap
like
you
when
on
I
the
get
wrist.
to the red.
Yep, you're for road racers and there's shifting points and stuff like that. There's a little program that beeps or whatever at them. That would be that tapping on the wrist thing that Colton just mentioned.
That would
Every
actually
time you
be
got a
cool.
shift, tap. So, Carlos, anything iRacing related over the Christmas holidays?
No, not at all, really. Just Yeah, nothing.
Well, I thought I saw in one of your videos that you made a recent purchase of a non-expensive but incredibly valuable tool of voice attack.
Wait, what?
Weren't you running voice attack in the
Oh, I bought
Charlotte
that
race?
way a long time ago.
Oh, well, that's the first time I've ever seen you use it.
Yeah, I've had voice attack for almost a year.
How about that? So, anyway, how are you? First of all, I know you had it for about a year. So, how are you liking it so far?
What, voice attack?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really convenient. Especially, me racing on a controller. I had to kind of limit it on buttons here. So I had to have something else to help out with black boxes and all that. Switching to them, you just say the word and it does whatever. As long as you have it set in your profile.
Yep, I think that's the first time you mentioned on the show that you race with a controller. And so, for anyone that races with Carlos, Carlos is in a very, I would say, fast. You're able to put on the fast laps and
Too bad I
very
can't
good.
finish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
don't
run
be
into-
horrified by hearing Carlos is on a controller. He's faster than anybody on our team.
Yeah, don't be horrified by that. But Carlos is a good racer, and he races with a controller. And to me, that's still just an amazing feat. And you can hear like on streams, and some people will talk about, well, he's on a controller, and people, what? And so I think a lot of people are amazed.
No, it took a lot of work though to get it to where you have to make these adjustments in the configuration, for the axes and all that, for your steering and all that. You have to really adjust it perfectly to get it as smooth as what I got it at.
Yep. All right. And Carlos, I believe that we have someone who's in chat on our site. That is also one of Motorsports teammates. And maybe he might ask a question. And that'd be Tyler Hudson, I believe, is in there.
Yeah, he hurt his ears burning. We were talking about him, I guess.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was burning. So if Tyler
I
wants
think he's stuck at work, bored watching.
yeah. Yep, I'm sure he is. But if Tyler wants to pipe in on anything, go ahead and pop something up there in chat. And Carlos, why don't you read something if you happen to see anything from him? All right. And Brad, do you receive anything for Christmas?
I actually did. My wife got me 2 more monitors, and I am currently waiting for a mini port adapter to come in so I can get the 3 screens going.
Dang,
Nice.
that's awesome.
Oh,
I
you
love
enjoy
that.
I am loved.
You sure are.
They help a
But
lot.
talk about that adapter. That's not something that you planned on, right? You kind of got everything set up and had realized that you needed another piece.
Yeah, well, if you've never done it, you don't know. And I run 2 video cards. I could probably hook 6 or 8 monitors up to this thing. And was always under the assumption of, one day I'm going to go 3 screen, one day. And lo and behold, for Christmas, she comes up 2 days before Christmas and goes, I can't wait any longer. You're just going to have to open your damn Christmas present. So got them, very happy, kind of disappointed that I had to hook them all into one video card. I didn't know you had to do that. So I had to order a part, and actually it took me probably about 4 or 5 days before I figured out what I actually needed. Had some help from Jose, and so right now I'm waiting on a part.
Yep, a little $25 mini port to active mini port adapter. Is that what you're getting?
Yeah, and so wish that I could just go down to Best Buy and get one, but they don't have them.
Looks like Tyler asked a question there to Jason.
All right.
I missed it. I logged out. I don't see what the question is, but
And it says something about how do you feel about the Kentucky setup?
oh, it's not bad.
Well, tell them who made the one that we've likened so far.
Well, there's a couple of versions. Just got to get him on there to test a couple of them with us. We'll narrow it down. But I was going to ask Brad. I don't have but one video card, but if you have more than one, can't you? I don't know if you have NVIDIA or AMD or what, but can't you run an SLI or Crossfire and use multiple for multiple screens?
When I go Crossfire, for some reason, mine wants to go to only 2 screens. And I've actually had all 3 screens come up with my desktop, but when I go into the game, it will not run it. And I was watching a video there on YouTube of how to hook up the AMDs, and they all say to use, if they mention it at all, they all say it's got to come off of the one card.
But are you getting the benefit of the second card when you do that?
I think you can go into Crossfire when you do that, because the second card is just for power and stuff, memory.
That's interesting. 'Cause if I thought about upgrading to 2, that would make me think twice about it if I can't utilize them like that.
Well, you are once you get them hooked up. But watch a few videos before you do it, because like I say, I was in one day I'll do this. And then when it happened, I was kind of like caught with my pants down. I hadn't researched anything. She wouldn't know what to research. She just thought she could get 2 more screens and I could plug them up and there you go, which I was hoping I could do, but it's not quite working out that way. But watch a few YouTube videos on how to do it before you come home and do like I do and sit there and go, well, doggone it.
Well, don't feel bad, Brad. When I first got triples, I went through the same process of thinking I was good to go, and it didn't work, and I had to figure out what to buy, and yeah.
One thing I did, when I first got my 3 screens, my card wasn't capable of doing it. And I actually still have the thing, and I don't need it anymore, so I'd probably sell it. But I got a thing called a triple head to go, and it just hooks into one port in the back of the video card, and it comes with software, and it processes everything through that thing and then sends it to the 3 screens. And that thing actually worked out really good, because there wasn't a huge explanation on how to actually hook up 3 screens. That was probably 7-8 years ago. So that thing made it pretty simple.
One of the videos I watched showed somebody using one of those. I mean, there's one video on there that's fantastic. It's 2 videos, and it's probably like 14 minutes total. And he shows you the pieces, he shows you what to do, shows you how to go into the AMD Catalyst control and everything. I mean, it's very informative.
Well, I just had a NVIDIA 9800 GT 2 gig card running the thing, and for it running 3 screens off of all the more that card was, the thing did really good. Whatever it did processing it had really good software with stuff you can do as far as opening windows and certain screens and all that type of stuff. The software with it was really good. But when I bought my new card, when I built my new computer, one thing that I did this time was I bought a dual card, which it has a dual processor and it's 4 gigs of memory just all in one card, and that made it really simple too. There was no hooking up an SLI or Crossfire. It was already set up to do all that. And I didn't need any special cables either. I could just run all DVI cables.
Interesting. Yeah, that was something. I wasn't actually looking at that product, but I was looking for something like that at first when I thought all this stuff was over my head. And that's interesting that they actually had something out there. So good to know for all the people out there listening that that there is options if you don't have all the ports available for triple screens. So it's good to know. I also want to mention another thing that I got for myself over the Christmas break. Just one more thing, even though I'm not ready to give a full review, and that is I bought a subscription to iAnalyze Racing. And so some of the neat things on there so far that I've seen, it will give you like the ride heights, the tire temps. It will give you basically a lot of different information. And it seems like pretty much all the same information that Motec will give you when you're looking at all your information. But some of the other added benefits is they do have speech recognition. So there is some certain things that you can say. As my computer still has to learn on how I talk and everything like that, so it would actually read me better. But there's certain things that you can say to basically work like voice attack does, which allows you to make those pit stop changes or move around those black boxes and everything else like that. But another thing it has is a pit stall countdown ability where it will say 10, 9, 8, when you're coming up to your pit stall, which is actually kind of nice. So there's some added features in there, but also one of the things that I don't know that other software can do is that I can compare my laps and a lot of my different things that I can analyze with other people that were in the session with me. So I can see like exactly where they're braking, where they're putting on the throttle, how much steering input they do and that type of stuff. So for example, if I'm in a room with Colton and Colton's like beating me every lap by, like he does, I can actually try to analyze why is Colton that much better than me, which is one of the reasons I kind of like this tool. But I'll give you, as we move on, I will give you a much better review of this software and things that I'm finding out.
How much is it?
It cost me $40 for the year, I think, or something like that, or $33 for the year. They have different options for different amounts of time, and I don't know if it was luck on my part, but when I joined, it was a little bit before Christmas, and I think for a Christmas present, they gave everyone 4 months free, so that got added onto my year.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and so it's, yeah, and I know they're still kind of new, and he's working on things. Right now, I got a not like a final build, but more like a pre-release build loaded in because I wanted the tire temps, which is one of the things that he added into it, and I wanted to make sure I got that. So, but so far, I'm liking the tool. I just don't know everything I'm looking at this time. So,
Well, I know you're new to it, but like the voice command, do you have to assign a button, have like a push to talk button for it to recognize what you're saying?
Yes.
And is it pretty intuitive? I mean, is it done like if you want to turn the fuel off? Do you have to say it like 4 or 5 times or something, or?
As like I said, as the computer starts to learn, I actually just the other day I went through the speech recognition thing, which is actually in the control panel, and went through its questions that they ask you, and you repeat things, and so it tries to learn your voice better, and so it just uses regular Windows speech recognition. And so I think at first it would struggle. I mean, there's things that you can say like pit stop full service, or you can say pit stop no tires or whatever, and that recognized it right away. But when I was trying to get into more detailed commands like pit stop, add 5 gallons, and change right side only, so when you did that, then sometimes it struggled. But otherwise, I'm finding most of the stuff. But there's some things that I know that they added into the program that isn't in their help file, and so I got a question out for them. Can I get all the commands that they have? Because there was something I read in one of the pre-release notes about changing tire pressures, where it's like set, right front to 32 pounds or something like that, and it will do that. But I didn't see that in any of the help things, and so I want to make sure I get all his latest stuff. So, but there's a lot of things you can do.
Oh, there's another question from Tyler. Do you have to load telemetry like normal, or does it just run and take the info?
It just runs and takes the info. Basically, you have your setting. I'll just I have the program open right now, so I'll actually tell you. In the options section, they have a telemetry mode, which you can do a dual mode, which is basically iAnalyze Racing's telemetry mode, which actually gives you the more information, or at least information that's for iAnalyze Racing. Plus, it gives you all the other drivers in the session, which is kind of nice. Then they have a thing called classic mode, or dual mode is actually both of them. It will have the IBT file, I believe it's called, which is a normal file that comes for like Motec and stuff. Isn't that right, Junior?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you would load up, so it would actually have that and the iAnalyze thing, and so you could do a dual mode. And then they have a thing called classic mode, which is just purely iAnalyze, and then you have like an iRacing manual thing where you would have to do the Control L or whatever to start telemetry up, and I think that's only for the regular Motec thing. So
Right.
basically, I leave it on dual mode and just and run it from there. So it runs automatically every time a session starts up. It will start it up.
Yeah, I think I have to hit Alt L to start recording telemetry for Motec.
Yeah, and I could see Tyler's thing there too, and he said it sounds really cool to use for those who aren't good with telemetry, and I am one, so it's a good tool to start using that and to actually, but it gives you a lot of the same graphs. You know, when I'm looking at ride heights and everything, I've seen the screenshots from Motec, and they look pretty much like the same type of graphs, and you can go any place on the track and see exactly where your ride heights would be or where if your front splitter is and that type of stuff. So it's a nice thing to know. And it's also, you can also see where you're wearing out your tires too by the tire temps. So I'm someone who pushes, I'm wearing out the right front more than the right rear. But I can actually see it now exactly where I'm doing it on the track, because I can tell from the colors that I'm really heating up the right front here. And so it is kind of an interesting tool. It's a kind of a neat thing. And so for people that are, I would say, just getting into it, it's probably not a bad buy, at least right now.
And how much is a subscription?
Oh, it's like
40?
Yeah, it's like 40. If you want, I can pull that up. But we'll while I'm pulling that up, we could talk about our good friend, Mr. Lance Gomez has been in the forums of late again.
It's
great.
comical. I was just looking at that and reading through that forum topic, and boy, he jumps in, he opens a topic, but then everyone jumps all over him, telling him, how he races. It's interesting. It's actually nothing new.
Yeah, it is nothing new, and it is, again, he's out there causing havoc and problem, and actually put out a poll question: is a 4X too easy in iRacing type of thing? Basically, if you're bumping doors, is it too easy? So let's answer that question before we even talk about Lance. And first of all, well, let's talk. Is a 4X too easy in iRacing? Do you think?
Sometimes. There was when we were doing, I think it was Winter NIS, and we were in a practice, or maybe it was a race or whatever. Jason and I actually were door to door at Talladega, and we, barely touched where you could barely feel it in the wheel. Neither of our cars got upset or anything, and we both got a 4X for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's going to be tough to say, is it too easy when you have the internet that's there interfering with it, because there'll be times when you go in there and just get doored by somebody. Hardcore doored to where you get damage out of it. It comes up 0x, and then like Roush is saying, you go in there and don't even really feel like you're touching the guy, and you get a 4x. And there's only so much you can do about that whenever people have internet connections the way they do, or just, I have a really good internet connection. It doesn't mean that it's not going to mess up at some point in time.
But I know that 4Xs can definitely happen on maybe a little too easy. Like it'd be a kind of a slight bump and you got a 4X. But don't you find safety rating pretty darn easy anyway?
That's the thing. If you're a clean racer, those 4Xs that you get like Jason and Roush got don't matter to you. And you're not going to get them every race that you run in.
Right. And so, for example, like Lance, I'm sure he's concerned because he's the only guy that I've known that's gone from an AA license and all the way down to a Class D license in the same season because he doesn't know how to keep a safety rating above 2. So, I mean, or actually above 1. So I've never, I can understand why it's a concern for him, but to be honest with you, for the rest of us, I don't think it should even be a concern because safety rating is just too easy. I don't even bother with it anymore,
Lance's problem is he races every person the same way. I mean, if you get one split and somebody in there is a 24 car and you put yourself in position where you're behind them, you can't go in there and pinch that guy down to the apron if you're trying to pass him on the outside, or go in there and take up half his lane or dive bomb underneath him and surprise him. You got to race people different ways, and there's some people you can run tight with and some people you can't, and if you try to run them all the same way, you're going to get wrecked or get 4Xs.
Yeah, and I think the issue that he had with it was a race, a fixed race, was with Brian Persky, and he's actually a pretty decent, clean racer and stuff. But I really think the problem is Lance. Lance himself, I think I don't think he really understands racecraft that well. That's my opinion. He's a bulldozer out there. So,
That's what everyone told him too.
Yep, he's out there. So, but it's interesting because we had him on the show. We really were trying to get what was in his mindset about why he does that type of stuff, and I think in his mindset he just thinks that he's fast, get the hell out of my way, and I don't care if you're there. So, but it's interesting that he's back at it. A bunch of people are still saying. Matter of fact, Brian Persky actually put up some replays if anyone's interested in going and taking a look at that. It's in the 8-car forums where Lance put up that poll, and then of course people are even questioning why Lance is questioning that. So,
Or why he's still on the service.
yeah, there's people that asked that too. Why is he still in the service? To answer the pricing on the iAnalyze Racing, for a 6-month subscription, it's $35. For 12-month, it's $40. For 24-month is $72, and for 36, it's $96. So you can see the reason why I did the 12-month, because it was only $5 more than the 6-month, and I thought that was a lot better deal, but I was unwilling to give them more than a year. So that's the reason why I did that. So it was $40. I thought it was a good thing to try out for $40 here, especially if it gets me more into doing some telemetry stuff. All right, Mike, the next topic is all yours.
Motorsport.com. We've talked about them before. They cover real life racing, but they also started this year sim racing coverage. Well, that kind of went away when they got a new editor-in-chief over there, Jim Utter, who I follow on Twitter, but I actually complained to him last week, dude, we need some more sim racing news on your site. And sure enough, they put up a story on the iRacing Pro Race of Champions at Watkins Glen. Richie Stanaway won that race, but I think the real story was Sam Smith, who's an IndyCar team owner and is paralyzed from the neck down from a racing crash 15 years ago. He was able to take part. They set up a special rig for him where he was driving with his mouth, basically, and by twisting his head a certain way or something like that, he was able to control the car. Finished a respectable 16th place. And was able to finish the race. And congrats to Sam Smith. There were some other well-known names in there. Timmy Hill, Jay Beasley, Chris Diamond, Ben Waddell round out the top 5.
Keselowski raced, I think. Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, Brad K was in there.
That was really cool watching Sam Schmidt. There was several of us on our team that were just watching it live, and I mean, wow, it was really cool watching him be able to get the car around the track probably better than I can, and he was just using head movement and those controls. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I've been around. I used to be a Sam Schmidt fan when he was an IndyCar driver until he got hobbled up there in Vegas in a huge wreck. But I was excited to see him racing too.
Yeah, I thought that was actually kind of neat on how they did the steering with the movements of his head, and then the throttle and the brake with basically by the straw or whatever you want to call it that was in his mouth, where he was either blowing or sucking into that straw. And I thought that was actually, for him to be able to go out there and race with that, I think is amazing.
Just to make a lap at Watkins Glen like that. Yeah,
right, keep it on the road.
Yeah, so, and I believe I heard that all the qualifiers were only like 2 seconds off of each other, and so, if he's racing 2 seconds off the fast guys, if he was the slowest, which I don't know, but even if he was the slowest and was only 2 seconds off the fast guys,
we're talking fast. We're talking Timmy Hill,
Yeah, Timmy Hill fast.
I know how fast that is. I've been in a race with him.
I have too. Yeah, he's schooled me before. Let's keep moving. I got a bunch of releases in December. I want to kind of just gloss over these. The last 2 weeks of December have been very busy with iRacing, with maintenance releases, outages, and so forth. The first one was the release notes for December 14th update, where they fixed a lot of different things. I don't think there's anything in this I want to go over, but they did, it's basically a lot of bug fixes from the main fourth quarter release. Then 2 days later, they had another maintenance on December 16th, where they took it out and put out some more updates. The release notes from that were actually released after the fact. And again, more bug fixes. And I don't think I saw anything in here about that spotter issue that we talked about. That's still outstanding. Then after the 16th, one of those issues they fixed was where the tires of opponents' cars would wobble, causing smoke. And I know I saw this in a race with Jose, where you look at their front tire and it's kind of going back and forth real quick. Did anyone else see that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, initially when the build came out, that was one of the weirdest things I saw. It actually kind of made me a little more distracted because I was noticing that.
Right. They got that addressed. So, and then the other one was they fixed an issue that reduced the maximum number of car positions transmitted to you by the server. There were a lot of people complaining about this because they have their settings set to see all cars regardless, but then you'd go and you'd be at the back of the grid, but you couldn't see the pace car, even though you knew it was there. So they got that fixed. And then December 22nd was another build where they put it down, and then they had a network event where iRacing went down unexpectedly.
Yep.
And they basically called it, we had a network event. It was brief, but an event nonetheless. We were working with our provider to figure out what happened.
I wonder if that was related to Steam going down, because I think, wasn't that the same day? Somebody said Steam was hacked or something like that.
Yep, Steam got hacked, and I think it was the same day. That was the 29th.
I don't know if it was related or not, but
and then there was another unplanned outage on the 30th. We experienced database corruption that resulted in unplanned downtime for the service. We are sorry. So lots of stuff going on with iRacing. I'm happy that all this stuff is happening in the off season during Christmas and holidays. And it's not affecting me anyway.
Yeah, it's for me. It's come to be expected somewhat. I think this happened to be one of the worst builds ever. And we'll get to what John Henry said about that. But to me, it's maybe they bit off a little bit more than they could chew in this build. For also for a software developer and for someone that has to update a program often, I like to do it in small chunks. I'm not one of these guys that like to do quarterly large updates. I'm one of these guys that are, more monthly, just small chunks, small chunks, small chunks. And the reason why I like doing that is because it's pretty straight. And also you have to have a rollback plan where you go back to what you had before. And if you're only doing small chunks, it isn't that big of a deal. When they do something really large, and they did have a very large build this time, and now it seems like we're kind of in a funk where we might be stuck with this thing until the next build. And
yeah, I don't think they're doing anything else until first quarter.
right, and so as of right now, we can't even tell ratings, or not. I mean, but standings, like in series, we can't even see that. So I mean, there's some things in there that are probably should be fixed before the next build, And I think that we went so far into this thing that we're kind of stuck with where we're at here, and it's actually a little bit of a disappointment. I'm not one of these people that are going to jump on the forums and demand my money back, type of thing. But I do wish that some of these things would get fixed.
I wish they would fix the how many racers are online and the my racers online, because I've got quite a few friends that are not on my team, that if I get on there and I see that somebody's running somewhere, I don't mind hopping in and going racing with them or something. But now it's just a potluck. You join a race and see who shows up.
Yeah, actually, what I do is I'll still go and go to a series, look at the results, hover over the helmets to see who's in these rooms, so I can tell, who's in it. So, for example, if I know some teammates are running something or in something, I'll go look through the practice rooms to be able to figure out where they're at, and jump in there.
Now, speaking of issues with the site and all that, has anyone else had any issues of trying to get into a team event? Like by clicking on teams and then going to team sessions? Because all it does for me is return me back to the main page.
I have to admit, I haven't tried any team events since the new build.
Actually, Sam was having trouble earlier with something, getting in to watch a GT3 race, and he was getting error code 22.
Yeah,
Ever heard of that?
I would try to load up the sim, and it would just, when it was trying to load the sim, the picture of the track that it has before, it would just pop up a box and say, unable to load sim, error code, or please try again. If the problem persists, contact technical support, error code 22, or load error 22.
I think I did see that last week, but I just refreshed or something, and it fixed it for some reason. It's just random.
I tried it a few times, but it didn't let me.
Sam looked on the forums, and there was only one post he found from like 5 years ago for error code 22, and it said pretty much delete everything and reinstall it or something like that.
Yeah, for that car and track.
Oh, I thought that was the Sam. What do you even bother even watching the GT3 race for? I think that error code 22 is meant for, isn't it?
It was pretty great. Derek was racing, and we were all in there watching. There was a giant crash. As soon as the green flag dropped, got 15 cars that looked like wrecking.
And Derek got run over twice.
Yeah.
Derek got run over?
Yeah, 2 times.
All I wanted to do is see Derek get run over.
He passed somebody on straightaways. It was at Interlagos. He passed him on the straightaway and then kind of pulled in front of him, and then they used him as a brake going into the corners.
Yeah, well, since I know Derek is listening, I always thought Derek is the one doing the running over, not being the person running over.
Ouch.
Yeah, I think he knows what I'm talking about.
You see all that smoke on the racetrack? There's a good chance that's Derek drifting.
Yep. All right, Mike, we can move on.
All right. The new McLaren was obviously released in the last big build, F1 car. And If you have this car, I strongly suggest you find this YouTube video by Team Redline. Ollie Pakala over there has put together a nice little video about the car and what the settings are, and he goes through the screenshots of the sim and the settings and talks about it.
So
Oh,
should we
nice.
Very
play a little clip
informative.
of that?
What's that,
I
Carlos?
said, should we play a little clip of that to see if people?
Yeah, you can play that on your screen while I talk about it.
He's pretty much
The other thing that
talking
got
about-
released is Eric
Then you will
Kudek
have
from
two
iRacing has put together a user's guide, a PDF, and I strongly recommend that too. So that can be found in the forum. Search McLaren Quick User's Guide, and lots of good stuff about this car. And boy, if you're a crew chief or into settings and stuff, boy, this is your car because it's got everything.
Hell, the car's already complicated enough to drive.
Yeah, I wish someone would do that for basically all the cars. I know, for example, like when I decided I was going to do Star Mazdas, one of the first thing I looked up was for a setup guide for Star Mazdas, and luckily there was one there. But you would like to see that for basically all the cars, just kind of a guide on, what do all the things do. I just don't want a general, here's road cars. I want something for this particular car, and so that's actually very nice of Ollie to put that out. And of course, anybody who's raced with Ollie they know that Ollie's a very good driver, and probably knows what he's talking about when he's doing these type of things. So it's very nice to see that. But I would actually like to see setup guides, and especially in video format like he did here, setup guides in for basically all the cars. I think that'd be kind of cool.
And talking about guys that know what they're talking about, Eric Kudek from iRacing, who put out the PDF guide, I follow him on the forums, and I recommend you should too if you're into setups, because he drops nuggets about how to do setups all the time and talks over my head more than I can dream of. I mean, it's amazing the guy knows about NASCAR, how to set up a NASCAR, how to set up any of these race cars. And if you want to learn more about doing setups, that's what I recommend, is follow this guy on the iRacing staff.
All right.
Moving on, is there another iRacing weather bug? There was a post on a blog of a screenshot of some practice times where a guy, Gary DeWard, ran a good 3 seconds faster than the rest of the field. And there's some speculation that there's perhaps a weather bug is still out there. It's just a rumor, guys, but how does he go 3 seconds faster than everybody else?
Good
I don't
question.
know, but I would like to go 3 seconds faster than everyone else. I've never got this weather bug.
So anyway, just be warned, there's really no other information besides the screenshot. So I don't know what's going on there. Moving on, there's been some changes to the G27 settings that are preferred. The guy from iRacing who does all the, I can't remember his name at the moment, who does all the steering wheel stuff, basically said, you want to try the damper. It's new this season and it feels really nice. Now, I went and compared my G27 settings to what he recommends today, and there were some changes I made based on that. I'm going to note those now. Basically, I'd previously had a 0% on spring effect strength. Now I'm at 100%. And then my centering spring strength was at 59, and now it's at 100. So I did make a couple changes based on his post, but search preferred G27 settings if you want to check that out.
Okay. I also want to mention that one of the guys that we have on the show quite a bit, Logan Clampett, has a new Twitch channel out there. It's called L Clampett, which is CLAMPITT 88. And so he will now be having his in-car view from for his races in there. And so anyone that knows Logan knows that he's pretty quick, and he does have the black stripe, so he's a pro driver. And I'm not positive if he's going to be doing that for the pro races, but I sure hope so, because I actually prefer to watch that over broadcasts. I'm really not a big fan of the broadcast style watching, but I do enjoy watching the in-car stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that Logan has that, but otherwise, it's a new channel, and he does have a bunch of races up, so he's obviously racing a lot. So go check him out. That's at L Clappett 88.
Yep. And the final topic before we go into the final thoughts is John Henry, the owner of iRacing, or the original founder, I should say, who owns Roush Fenway Racing as well as the Boston Red Sox. He did take to the forums here over the holiday about the build challenges. And I want to take a moment and just read what he wrote. So here we go. Having been here since the beginning, I can say with authority that this has been the most challenging build technologically we've ever had. It's not likely to be repeated since there were and are a number of factors that have led to all these issues. The staff has been working like hell to address all of the issues, and I can tell you they feel worse than probably any member about the glitches this month. It's also about time I thanked all of you once again, not just for being patient through this build, but for making iRacing the success that it has become. We've started our 12th year in business and our 9th year of service at the beginning of 2016. There were a lot of naysayers, and as there should have been, because there was not a simple service to build. I don't know what's more surprising, the length some of you have been members or the length of time so many staff have been with us. Most of the original staff of iRacing are still here, and many of them have had a history at Papyrus. Most of them are working harder than ever before. I had a discussion with Randy and Grant this week about something new they are working on, and their level of excitement is higher than I've ever seen it before. Dave is more committed than he's ever been. I'll not go through a list of staff, but they remain through thick and thin, continuing to create and provide the best, most complicated racing service in the world. They wouldn't still be here if you had not embraced iRacing the way you have. We aren't cheap, we aren't easy, and you continue to support our efforts on behalf of motorsport simulation. Thank you sincerely, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, I just want to add to that, that even though there's some issues and it happens every once in a while, this is still the best sim I've ever been on. And you know, for realism, for competitiveness, for having fun, making friends, you know, everything around that iRacing has. So for me, the service is still fantastic, and we can muddle through some of these issues and stuff like that. And I still think that they've done a fantastic job. And, you know, sometimes it is disappointing when they go through, you know, some terrible builds like this last one, but you really can't still even say that. I mean, they have Newbering out there, and we're sitting there running this huge track, you know. And actually, I haven't had any stuttering problems on the Nordschleife at all. And you know, just to be able to put that out and the level of detail that they have in that thing, I mean, these guys have done a wonderful job, and so for me, it's been well worth it, even their price points and stuff. So I don't know, that just my opinion on that.
Well, I just love to hear from the guy with all the money, the guy who really makes iRacing happen. And it sounds like he's more committed than ever, you know, and it sounds like, you know, we're in a growth period. They have more staff than ever. It's only going to get better, guys.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Alan. Even with, or whenever they have their little problems that we complain about, it's still, at least for me, nothing comes close to iRacing as a motorsport simulation. It's still the best we've got.
They really care about their product as well. I mean, I've told a couple of my teammates this when, you know, iRacing was down for a couple days and everything. I mean, they were excited about it and everything. They had a lot of content. Everyone was excited for it. And like Alan said earlier, they probably bit off a little more than they could chew. And they had a major disaster trying to roll everything out. But if any of you follow anyone on iRacing on Twitter, they were giving constant updates via Twitter, not on Facebook, but via Twitter, about what was going on. And a lot of their crew worked 2 days straight on coffee and everything, trying to fix everything. Even if they were told to go home, they stayed, and they're really, really dedicated. So I mean, that shows how much they care for us to be able to do this and be able to have a lot of fun with our friends and everything.
Well, a lot of people don't realize how good they have it compared to what iRacing started as. And I've been a member of iRacing since '09. You didn't used to be able to know who was online or be able to spectate races or
I remember them
go out
days.
there and try to drive the legend car on the original tire model as a rookie and progress your way up. I mean, some people had it and it was all right, but for me, man, that legend car when I first signed up, it was a struggle, and it wasn't like it was my first experience at sim racing. I mean, I did some R Factor stuff and at least sat here at a wheel with my computer before I did iRacing, and that legend car, the Solstice on the roadside, I mean, it was a lot to keep one of those things going straight on the track.
Yeah, would have been interesting. I joined in 2013, so I never got to experience some of those old things. But I know for me, it was about 10 years before I did any sim racing. Before I joined iRacing, I last played on the old Papyrus games, and of course I used to enjoy those a lot and stuff. But then, I didn't play any of the console stuff. So when I joined iRacing, it was, for me, it was like a big slap in the face. How come I didn't join this before? It's been great. And basically, I have dropped pretty much all my other hobbies. Quit playing baseball. I don't do anything else. This is it. It's taken over my life. Pretty soon, I can't wait till I retire too. So take over my job. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun. So, final thoughts, Brad?
All right. I got to do a charity thing there the other day, or give to a charity. It was called Bristol Speedway and Lights. Drive down the drag strip, 2 million lights. Biggest kick for me. I got to run in the second groove around turn 3 and 4 at Bristol. I can tell you right now, that track is banked massively. You can sit there and say whatever banking it is and say, oh, that's a lot. But when you think your car is going to flip the hell over, it was just, I mean, I can't tell you.
You're in your passenger car?
Yeah. Well, the worst part was I was in my wife's Hyundai, and so small SUV. I wished I'd have been in my Camaro, but I wasn't because I had my mother and my mother-in-law and my wife in there. My mom screaming, get up on the track. I get up on there, and nobody said a word. And I kind of gassed it up a little bit. I mean, what can you do in a Hyundai? But got on the backstretch, and I was like, wow, that was banked more than I thought. My grandmother, or my mother-in-law, is like, I was mashed into the window. If the door opened, I would have been gone. So that was a trip.
Oh, that threw me for a loop when I went to Michigan one year. It looks like a flat track, but it is much more banked than you'd think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, my track over here is Phoenix, and it looks like a flat track. It only got 10, 12 degrees of banking. You look at it in person, you're like, oh, it's a lot more than you think.
Yeah, I had a similar experience walking on the front stretch at Dover. They say that track is banked all the way around, but when you're driving it on iRacing or whatever, it really looks like a normal flat front stretch. But it's almost hard to walk up towards the wall on the front stretch at Dover. It's amazing.
And my other thing is we were talking about setups at the start, and our team does setups, and I know your all's team does setups. Do y'all find that you can make a setup and everybody can get in and drive and be happy, or does most of your team have to make little changes here and there?
Junior, you can answer that question.
Well, if you get a setup that's balanced, and then each individual driver can make small adjustments, then it's pretty easy to adjust for everybody. But it's really getting a baseline balance to me, and then people adjust. Like some people want a looser car, they can just add more track bar or whatever, just small changes. But yeah, all the driving styles are a little bit different. So, small changes usually work.
I think we've all been pretty happy the last 3 weeks with your setups, Jason.
Are you making any changes, Colton, to those, or?
Well, anybody who knows me knows that I know nothing about setups, but I try to learn a little bit. I honestly don't. I might make a little track bar change or something, but I don't make much changes. I like to just get a good setup and then drive it.
Yeah, for me personally, I normally do a little tweaking on the setups that Junior provides, or Travis or Josh or whoever. It's and sometimes I'm wrong, but I'm always looking for something that feels a little bit better for me. I know when Junior makes a setup, he's basically making it for Tyler and Derek, and I can't drive like those guys can. They're able to drive a loose setup and be able to wheel it around. And so I normally do a little tightening on the car, either by the track bar adjustment or most of the time, one of my favorite adjustments actually put a little more air in the left rear tire, just to kind of stabilize it coming off the corner. And so, but I don't know. Basically, I think most people do some kind of little tweak here and there. All right, Mike, let's go Colton first. Colton, any final thoughts for the show?
Thanks for having me, inviting me. It's fun. I think we had some good discussions. Just thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Jason, any final thoughts?
Pretty much what Colton said. I mean, yeah, I like your show. I've listened to probably not all of them, but I've listened to a good bit of them, and they're entertaining, informative. I think it's cool what y'all do, and I probably should have been on here sooner, but here I am, and I appreciate the invite. Maybe I'll come back sometime.
All right. Sam, any final thoughts?
Same thing. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to be able to talk iRacing with you guys and everything.
Yep. Travis, any final thoughts?
Just like to point out that Tyler asked if iRacers Lounge was interested in any sponsorship for the Peak Series.
Now that's funny.
Get your name out there, get it on Tyler's car, get some viewers on here.
We love those comp sponsorships. I've been trying to get Logan Clampett to put a logo on his car, but yeah, there's no revenue behind this, unfortunately.
So I think what Mike is saying is that that'd probably be a big no unless it was a donation by us, because we're not making any money on this. But also, Tyler would like to point out that he said, Travis, big fan, please respond. So Travis, you got to respond to that.
I don't really have a response for him.
I was waiting.
We're gonna go out here and we're gonna win the DWC season though. Next one coming up, Tyler Hudson champion.
Go get
There you
it.
go.
10-4. Keep your eye out.
Yep. Carlos, any final thoughts on the show?
Nope.
All right. Carlos is always man of
As
big
usual.
words. Mike.
And I got a list as usual. Okay, so shout out to Daryl Temple, one of our listeners who contacted us, said he liked the show. He especially liked the Gomez episode and what we had to say about Gomez. So thanks, Daryl, for listening. My Trading Paints renewal is next week, guys. That means it's been 1 year since I signed up for Trading Paints Pro. And if you signed up for Trading Paints Pro, your renewal is probably due very soon too. I made a decision today to go ahead and let the renewal stand and not back out of it. I think those guys do a great job, and we'll continue to support them. And then finally, we're under preparations now are underway for the 24-hour race of Daytona. Tifosi Racing plans on fielding the fastest car, whichever car that may be. It sounds like it'll be the Corvette DP. And we got about 8 guys signed up. We need some more. Reached out to Cuckoo's Nest Racing, Matt Starkweather, waiting to hear back from them, hoping to team up with them perhaps. Also, ISCP Podcast, Frank and Jay over there are road racers, and we're trying to sign them up too. And hey, if there's any listeners out there who want to get in on the action, contact me.
All right.
I think we might have a team forming if some guys decide what they want to drive.
I think we'll probably have, I don't know for sure, but my guess is it's going to be, like you said, the Daytona prototype and probably GT3, although who knows. We might have one of each car out there.
I'll drive whatever.
Yeah.
It's just fun to me.
Yep.
Speaking of that, iRacing should be telling us already. I mean,
Yeah,
we're close.
there's no date set. There's no car set. Speculation is the date is going to be February 6th and 7th, but that is not official.
Yeah, I think last year it was about a week into January when they let us know all that.
Yeah, it would be nice if they let us know, and it'd also be nice if our teammate who's in charge of this stuff would let us know what we're driving in and what team we're on.
Who's that?
Yeah, I don't know. I know you're putting together a list, and Derek is putting together something. So if Derek is still listening, get your butt going there.
Get
on
cracked.
this. So
Get your
Snap
crap together,
that whip.
Derek.
so
I think we definitely have enough to field 2 teams. And it'd probably be one of the fast cars and one of the slower cars, whatever it turns out to be. But yeah, enough guys from our side decide they want to do it, we might end up fielding 3 teams.
that would be interesting to have that many guys in it, but their team's big enough to be able to handle that. And actually, the team aspect is going to be my final thought here. As you can see, we got a lot of guests from my team, One Up Motorsports, on the show today, and one of the things I wanted to talk about was part of the enjoyment and the benefits and everything of being part of a team. And so if you're not part of a team, just jump on the forums and see if anybody needs teammates or whatever, because there's a lot of people looking for teams, whether you're just learning and, or you just want to hang out with friends on a TeamSpeak, or just want to hang out with some guys, or if you want to learn how to do setups, or if you want to learn how to drive better, or if you know that stuff and you want to share that with other people. Being part of a team and having fun and doing that type of stuff is to me about 80% of my enjoyment of being on iRacing. I love the fact that I can jump on. There's normally someone on here, and we can sit there and just either practice together or even do different races. It really doesn't matter. It's just it's fun conversations and everything else like that. So
Lots of wrecking.
yeah, especially if you're in a room with Travis, he'll wreck the hell out of you.
There's Travis Sollenberger in a practice. Be prepared to be wrecked.
Yep.
Not many people end up with more incident points than me at the end of a practice session.
But anyways, I think it's a lot of the fun. So if you're not part of a team, you should seriously consider looking to be part of one. Or if there's people that you race with on, and then you like how they race, go ahead and PM them and find out if they're on a team or if they want to make a team or whatever. So it's just it's part of the things you do, and so as you can see on how we interact here and how the Tifosi team interacts, everyone enjoys each other, and it's a lot of fun. So that's my final thought for the show.
And we're recruiting over here at Tifosi Racing,
So contact Mike. Contact Mike
maybe
if you're looking for a
we're
team.
real picky though.
Yep, awfully picky team over there. They're only black
Only the
license are
best
better,
drivers.
right? Yeah, black license are better. So anyway, actually, it's for any team that's looking to grab a guy. they would bring them in and just see if they follow the personalities mesh. And so kind of brings us back to one of our old topics. Now I think we know why Lance Gomez is a sole driver, not on team, right? So anyway, that should be the show. So thank you all guys for being here. I really appreciate it. And that's it.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast. Make sure to go subscribe to us on YouTube, follow on Twitter and Facebook, and SoundCloud. See you on the track.